Now let's get up to speed with Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds!
Wait, stop, young man! You mustn't come this way, it's too dangerous!
Dangerous?
A dragon lives within that mountain.
Hmm? There's no such thing! He had to be lying. Dragons aren't real, not today.
I can hear you breathing, I can see you coming, I can feel the wind that's blowing me around.
Welcome back, you filthy satellites, to more Peak. If you missed the last one, what's wrong with you? Go watch it. Right now. Not only will you be introduced to the best children's card game anime, sorry Card Fight Vanguard, but there's also a lot of exposition there for the future that I'm not going to recap, so I hope you took notes. I know you might be thinking, bro, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's gonna get that complicated. Oh, you poor stupid satellite. Just you wait and watch. Because we pick up right where we left off, with Yusei beating Jack in the finals of the Fortune Cup, becoming the new king of Turbo Duels. Fortunately, since the two had a whole chosen one thing happening, no one saw the end of the duel, and some people think Yusei cheated or something to win, because he's a filthy satellite. Instantly, a bunch of reporters want the big scoop on this new king of lanes. One is Carly Carmine, who quickly gets shafted and teased by another reporter, Angela Rains, as them and other reporters want to know more about what happened.
Won the championship!
I'm standing in Domino Stadium in Domino City. Well, I mean, obviously Domino Stadium is in Domino City, but...
Where yugioh has stolen Jack Atlas's championship
Angela,
crown.
one journalist to another. His name's not yugioh, it's Yusei Fudo.
To help Yusei get out, I haven't really come up with a name for this group of characters yet. You know what? When it's a bunch of jobbers and not just the signers, I'll call them Team 5Ds. It'll make sense next season. Team 5Ds takes Yusei out through some underground tunnels. Back at the stadium, the reporters all try to get an interview with Goodwin on what happened, but he's vague and brushes them off, including Carly, who we see is very fond of fortune-telling, having a fortune fairy deck. We also see she is not a top-level reporter. She seems to live out of her car and gets berated by her boss for not getting an interview with Yusei or Goodwin, and she better get a scoop soon or she's fired. That's when, reviewing the footage, she notices Yusei's arm glowing before the Crimson Dragon appeared. Meanwhile, we see three mysterious hooded figures discussing that now that the signers have been revealed, it's time to make their move.
So, Goodwin has assembled his precious signers and summoned the Crimson Dragon. I think it's time we make our presence known. We must lower the curtain of shadows on Domino City.
That's when we see some more hooded figures preaching signs of doom and destruction to people of Satellite, as spiders crawl on their back of their necks. Yusei and the D's are trying to piece together what's happening on their own. The biggest question for them right now, if they're supposed to be 5 signers, why did the Crimson Dragon appear with only 4? And Yanagi points out they must have been nearby if it did happen. Luna passes out from all the excitement because she's still a weak little baby, so the team takes a break at Blister's hideout. That night, while everyone is sleeping, Yusei's mark suddenly starts glowing, but it's not the regular kind of glowing, because it's really painful, almost like it's digging into his arm.
My mark's never felt like this before. It feels like it's trying to warn me of something, like there's a darkness or evil lurking.
That's when outside he sees one of those hooded men and sees his arm glow. Yusei thinks it's the 5th signer, so he heads out and chases him to a car park. That's when a wall of dark flames forms around them and the man challenges Yusei to a shadow duel. Oh yeah, we're back, baby. Yusei then notices that during the duel the damage is real. He's feeling real pain, like when he dueled Akiza. What's more, the man does a new form of summoning, a dark synchro summon. Using a dark tuner, this time you subtract the levels to make a dark synchro monster. Well, that sounds cool. That's actually not a thing they did in the card game. It's just an anime exclusive. Which is weird, that's not that complicated considering other summoning methods they do, but whatever. What's the name of this new evil beast that he made with this new dark summoning method?
When the shadows are devoured by even darker shadows, the curtain pulls back and reveals a world without light. Come forth, Frozen Fitzgerald!
Wow, yeah, what a terrifying name. Fitzgerald, an evil name that strikes fear in many. Same name as my English professor. Carly, who's still out trying to find a scoop, notices the light of the duel and shows up to see what's going on, and is shocked to see the newest King of Lanes dueling some rando in a ring of fire, and that it's all apparently real. Then the hooded man reveals he is a dark signer, the antithesis of a signer, and will bring about destruction on New Domino and Satellite.
We sense your fear. It grows like waxing night. Like my monsters, the dark signers will always win.
What? Is that who you are?
Too bad for him, Yusei is a protagonist and wins the duel. But before he can get answers, the man acts like he has no idea what's going on. What's more, his mark is gone, and his deck is nothing like the one he used against Yusei. Carly, of course, tries to get an interview with Yusei, but he bolts when he hears the coppers on the way, and she gets left behind with this jobber to get arrested. Back in Satellite, we see more hooded figures preaching about how the Crimson Dragon is bad, okay, and follow the spider. But Riley tries to tell them that's hogwash, as one of the other guys drags him away. As Yusei's friends have been free for a while, but are still lost on what is going on, and that's when conveniently Blister shows up, saying he's been looking for them. Back at his hideout in New Domino, Yusei wants some answers for these dark signers, and conveniently for him, Trudge shows up to try to arrest him again, but Yusei wants him to take him to Goodwin for answers. And knowing something is up and wanting to protect the peace, Trudge begrudgingly agrees to help Yusei. Carly is then released from police custody, but they don't have her camera with all the footage of Yusei's duel, and the cops say there is no record of a camera as they throw her out. Still being pressured by her boss, she decides to see Goodwin again at the movie premiere. Yeah, this time there's a movie based on the rise of Jack Atlas as the dueling king. Wow, that's some bad timing. At the premiere, Carly runs into Angela again, and both of them see Misty Treadwell, a super sexy model. And Carly thinks Misty looked at her for a brief second, but nah, why would a woman like that pay attention to her? When Goodwin comes out to give a speech, Angela starts digging deeper, saying she knows Jack was born in Satellite. He's not actually from New Domino like everyone's been claiming. And seeing this unfold on the TV in the hospital is Jack, who is not a happy man due to everything right now, despite Mina trying to cheer him up. Hearing the claim of Jack being from Satellite and getting desperate, Carly decides to go to the source, Jack at the hospital. But on her way out, Misty stops her, and...
Carly, right? I heard you liked fortune telling.
Yeah.
Well, I use faces. Your face is haunting.
It's what?
Your eyes. They're showing me the path you will take. It is a path that will disappear into a darkness, but when you choose to take this path, you will know yourself better than you ever have before.
Sorry, my Yuri senses went off for a second. Anyway, Misty says some vague stuff about Carly and the darkness. Huh. Meanwhile, Yusei is waiting for Goodwin, and Trudge continues to taunt him until Lazar shows up to escort Yusei while he tells Trudge to get Jack from the hospital. Carly is already there, who got past all the reporters by disguising herself as a nurse, and she immediately finds Jack, who is still pissed and wandering around the hospital. That's when they see Trudge, who is not himself. He has been possessed by the same spider mark that guy Yusei dueled had. Carly recognizes the Dark Signer mark and tells Jack to run because the damage is real. Yusei barely won his duel against that, and hearing Yusei won is enough for Jack to stay and fight this guy. But he needs Carly's help since his arm is in a cast, so she stays to help him duel possessed Trudge. Which is bad because Carly knows how to duel but kinda sucks, doing misplays, annoying Jack. Once he jumps in front of an attack to keep him from getting more injured, he's gotta respect it.
What was your name again? Callie?
My name's Carly.
What say you, Carly? Let's finish this together.
Well...
It's my
And my turn!
And the two work together, beating Trudge, freeing him from the spider. But Jack collapses from his injuries as he asks Carly to take him out of this hospital, and she sneaks him out. At the same time, Yusei is taken to an incomplete bridge viewing Satellite, where Goodwin is waiting, as he's about to tell Yusei all. Psych! Oh man, you stupid Satellites, you actually thought we were gonna get important information? No, instead, we get introduced to a new main character. Yep, it's already starting with this series. In Satellite, we see a man steal a bunch of decks from Sector Security, escaping on his own duel runner.
Time to ride!
Thanks for keeping an eye on her, but me and my ride gotta take off now. Try to keep up if you can, officers.
This is Crow Hogan. We don't know much about him now other than he uses Blackwing monsters, and he stole cards for some orphans in Satellite. And when he sees news of Yusei being the Turbo Duel King now, he comments that he knows him. Speaking of, back on the bridge, Goodwin tells Yusei what he knows. Speaking of the bridge they're on, it was originally meant to connect Satellite and New Domino, but was never completed, as Goodwin says doing so could spell disaster. Can't have the rich mixing with the poors. No, actually, it's because of the Dark Signers. 5,000 years ago, the Crimson Dragon created the Signers. The evil sealed away the Nazca lines were messengers from the Netherworld, and is what created the Dark Signers, the opposition destined to carry out the King of the Netherworld's original goal of destroying everything. Yusei asks, cool, but why specifically now after 5,000 years of nothing? And Goodwin explains it's because of the Enter D reactor, not the one they have now, but one they made more than a decade ago. It was made in Satellite, but it went haywire, exploding, destroying the city, making Satellite what it is now, as Satellite used to be called Domino City. At the same time, an energy emitted from the Nazca lines created a dark energy opening a portal to the Netherworld, right where that old reactor is, which brought about the Dark Signers. And it's the duty of the Signers to stop this from happening again, which is why Goodwin held the Fortune Cup looking for them. Yusei's kinda pissed because he knows everyone in Satellite, and if they're in danger, why doesn't Goodwin evacuate them? With Goodwin replying if he did, they'd just find other victims, implying the citizens of New Domino. So Yusei then asks, well, okay, well if you need all the Signers, where's the 5th one? And Goodwin replies, they'll arrive soon, but for now, Yusei, you got a job to do. Meanwhile, Jack wakes up in a bed and finds he's at Carly's apartment. Oh, I guess she didn't live in her car. What was all that shit in there then? And immediately, Mina along with Trudge show up, who were able to track Carly through security footage. And Mina is pissed that Carly stole Jack from her. Yeah, I guess I haven't made it obvious yet. Mina is a super simp for Jack. Also, Trudge simps for Mina. There's kind of a love triangle going on. But then if I guess you include Carly, it's like a love rhombus. None of it goes anywhere. Like Jack, who doesn't want to go back, still sulking over losing his title, dejecting Mina, and giving Carly weird fantasies thinking Jack wanting to stay is causing some weird love triangle between them? Sure, lady. Yusei is taken to Satellite and immediately runs into Crow. The two are apparently really close friends. That's why we never heard of him or seen him in over 30 episodes. The two meet up with Yusei's jobber friends when Sector Security finds them, still looking for Crow for that robbery he pulled an episode ago, and Yusei helps him beat them to escape. Meanwhile, Carly still needs a story on Jack, but realizes she'd come off as kind of a dick by asking for a story while he's all mopey, so she takes him on an anime date to an amusement park, with Mina and Trudge following. This bit is supposed to be funny, with Jack also wearing a disguise so no one recognizes him. I didn't laugh. I guess that's one negative to this show, at least personally, when it did try to have jokes and be funny. It wasn't. At the end of the date, Jack starts getting real pensive, telling Carly everything she wants for a story about how he's from Satellite, and how he betrayed his friends, and how his rise to becoming king was a sham, and he's ashamed of what he did up until now to get to this point.
In order to be the duelist I wanted to be, I lost sight of the duelist that I really am. I wanted to be the greatest. But I see now that I took the easy path.
Carly tells him why not start over again, like he did when he left Satellite. That old asshole Jack is gone after losing to Yusei, so be new, cool Jack.
Think of it this way. Old Jack lost in the battle against Yusei, and new Jack was reborn. You can do it again. You can go back to the Satellite and right your wrongs. You can say sorry to your friends, and things can be like they were before.
And her words get through to him, and he says he won't be led off the path that he wants anymore, by people like Goodwin. And Carly can write whatever he wants about him, because he doesn't care. He's gonna live his life the way he wants. But Carly vows herself to not just write fluff pieces about duelists just to please her boss. She's gonna write the truth. Growth all around, and I like Jack's whole thing going on. Let's be real, GX really missed the whole Kaiba rival type. Yeah, we had my nigga Chaz, of course, but they made up Aster. Let's not forget they made Jesse too. They just really couldn't nail a rival character for Jaden. But Jack having this personal past with Yusei, betraying him, and then later realizing he was a huge dick and trying to redeem himself, it's way more interesting to watch. Not to mention he's just as entertaining as Kaiba with how direct and kind of an asshole he is, even behind the accent. But yeah, Jack Atlas, cool guy, like him. Back in Satellite, the jobbers meet up with Yusei and Crow in the bad sector, where all the baddies hang out. At night, after Yusei tells everyone about all this signer business he's involved in, Crow tells the legend of the man who flew over the bridge. One day a man showed up on a dual runner, no one ever saw him or the runner before. But he had a dream, he wanted to connect the Satellite and New Domino. So he started building a bridge, the Daedalus Bridge, which is the broken bridge Yusei and Goodwin were on earlier. Everyone who saw the man build this thought he was crazy and laughed at him, but after seeing his determination day after day building it himself, people of Satellite would begin helping him. But of course there are important people that don't want to interact with the pores, so Sector Security tried to arrest the man. And to escape, the man rode his dual runner off the bridge, with no one seeing him since, becoming a legend to symbolize freedom. Many say he died, but others say he actually flew across the bridge and ended up in New Domino. And Crow idolizes this man, believing he actually made the super long jump. No time for legends though, now it's reality, and the Dark Signers are making their moves as the Nazca lines start disappearing completely, and Goodwin, Carly, and Jack all see this happening on the news. And the Dark Signers now know Yusei is in Satellite, and one of them, named Callan, says he will handle him as he really wants to meet Yusei for some reason. Yusei in the middle of the night tries to sneak off so his friends don't get involved in this signer business, but Crow catches him, and he goes with Yusei to the site of the original NRD reactor, where Callan is, and as Yusei starts approaching the reactor, his mark and all the other Signers' marks start glowing, signifying the battle between Signer and Darksider has begun. Of course, Goodwin knows this is happening too, and sends Trudge and Mina to get Jack and bring him to Yusei, with Carly coming too for some reason. During some bits of arguing and teasing I'm not going to explain, Jack actually reveals that Yusei is not from Satellite. He was born in the city. His parents were researchers for the original NRD reactor that malfunctioned, and were killed when it happened. That's when Yusei was sent to an orphanage in Satellite when he met Jack. And apparently higher-ups under Goodwin have gone to great lengths to keep all of that a secret. While that exposition is happening, plot is happening, as Yusei and Crow run into Callan, and surprisingly, they all know each other.
Callan Kessler? Is that really you? We thought when you left the satellite it was forever.
It was, but thanks to you and that mark of yours, Callan is back! And while I was away, I made some new friends.
And Yusei is very surprised to see Callan is a dark signer. But Callan is ecstatic to see Yusei the signer, because he wants to get revenge on Yusei for betraying him, as he erects a big wall of purple fire in the shape of his mark as the two begin a turbo duel.
After what you did to me, this is sweet justice, dear old friend. You destroyed my life, so I'll destroy your home. The satellite will burn!
And my god, is this duel long. Probably the longest one since the OG series. It's 3 parts technically, not because of the duel itself, it's because of all the exposition we get. Because Jack shows up and watches too, and having Jack, Crow, Yusei, and Callan here, we learn of their past together. Back in the day, the 4 of them were the Enforcers who took on duel gangs. Gangs of roving duelists who ruled with children's cards. Even though they're holograms, we established only psychics and evil powers make this real. So I don't really know what dueling has to do with owning a city, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm not going to question it. And the Enforcers really knew how to throw down some face downs, taking out gangs left and right like it was nothing. With Jack even commenting, Callan gave the 3 of them purpose by beating the gangs to make the satellite safe. In fact, Callan saved Yusei one time, saying he'll never leave a friend behind, which might have been one of the catalysts that made Yusei such a friendship weenie. We don't know what happened specifically to them, but we do see a flashback with Callan being arrested by Sector Security, with Yusei seemingly working with them, which is why Callan says Yusei betrayed him. He's a snitch. Yusei says he has it all wrong, but no time for that because it's time to duel. And Yusei has trouble dealing with Callan's Infernity deck, a cool archetype. It involves not having cards in your hand and all their abilities go off. It's pretty sick. But the worst is his and other Dark Signers' ace monsters. While the Signers have dragons, Dark Signers have Earthbound Immortals. Creatures so powerful they require the sacrifice of many souls, and that's what they've been gathering people in Satellite for, to sacrifice them for these beasts. And Callan, absorbing hundreds if not thousands of these souls, summons his evil Earthbound Immortal, what his name is, this deadly dark creature from the Netherworld, hellbent on the destruction of all mankind.
By releasing the 2 ghost tokens from my field, I banished the Taken to the Netherworld as an offering to the Earthbound Immortal, Kokopakapoo!
I'm sorry, what?
The rest of the Taken in the shadows of the Netherworld! Ha! Earthbound Immortal Kokopakapoo!
Yeah, I know that's probably a real word in a language I don't understand, but come on. You can't deny the fact that that sounds like cock-a-pee-pee. And this funny card is too broken for Yusei, because he's about to lose. But out of all the Yu-Gi-Oh we've seen so far, the most plot armor protagonist shielding bullshit happens here. Yusei is about to lose, but then his duel runner malfunctions, causing him to crash, meaning they can't finish the duel, so Callan leaves, expecting to get his revenge some other day. What a cop-out.
Just look at you! You're so pathetic. You may have managed to survive this little encounter, but I'm afraid you can't fight your fate. You can't stop the satellite from being obliterated, and you can't save yourself.
Jack wants to go down and help, but without his own runner, the group in the helicopter head back to the city. Meanwhile, Crow and Yusei's jobber friends need to help him, because he's injured. So Crow says he's going to take him to someone named Martha, while the jobbers do something useful and actually walk Yusei's runner to him, even through the bad area. And they make it to Martha's place, the orphanage that Yusei grew up in, as her and a doctor try to save him. While we've been keeping up with Yusei and Jack, what about the other 2 signers? Well, back in the city, Tanner and Yanagi visit Leo and Luna, where Luna tells them about how she knows Yusei battled someone thanks to the mark, but not much else. The group discuss everything, and this leads Leo to assume since he's Luna's brother, all 5 signers had to be at the stadium, and he does have a dragon card I haven't mentioned because it's kinda stupid. He must be the 5th signer, but his powers haven't awakened yet. Whatever helps you sleep at night, kid. But he does suggest that since the signers need to work together, they will need Akiza. But Tanner and Yanagi aren't too keen on that idea since she's in the Arcadia movement, who are rumored to be real shady. Leo suggesting it can't be more than just rumors convinces them to contact the movement to meet Akiza, so Tanner uses his contacts to find a way in. Meanwhile, my wife is going through tests at the movement where they see her power level has gone down quite a bit. Kasayer this whole time has been making sure Akiza stayed angry at the world for treating her like a monster, making sure her psychic powers were always nice and destructive. But he realizes the duel with Yusei has changed her way of thinking, as she's now actually doing that, thinking, as she's actually worth more than her powers, and he can't have that. That's when he's contacted by Tanner's people, who invites them all to the movement for dinner, but it's a trap. As they are gassed, and Tanner and Yanagi are locked up, as Luna is forced with Akiza to watch Sayer duel Leo? Yeah, Sayer is already aware Luna has some sort of powers, but wants to see if Leo does too. He does not. He's as normal comes. Leo is not special. Like, at all. There's no hidden thing here. He's just a normal kid. He gets seriously injured due to Sayer's powers and the equipment he's hooked up to, with Luna devastated having to watch her brother get tortured. Well, that's fucked. At least Yusei's doing better. He's all depressed now that his old friend came back from the dead and tried to kill him. That sucks. Okay. What about Jack and Carly? Are they okay? God, why is everyone such a bummer right now? I remember when the show was about having fun with dueling monkeys. Well, Carly is sad because Jack left her behind. He basically did that thing of being mean and telling her she's an asshole so she'd leave him alone because he doesn't want her to be involved in all this Signer stuff because he cares about her. But she's developed a bit of a crush on Mr. Atlas and decides to keep pursuing this story to help him and make sure she can be with him. I consider this to be the start of Jack's harem. Yes, his harem. Meanwhile, Callum returns to his buds and the leader of the Dark Signers is like, dude, you had Yusei injured after a crash. Why did you not kill him? And Callum's all like, cause he knows that I know that he knows that he can't beat me. We got the scrub right where we want him. And he's actually right, as Yusei now is very doubtful he can stand up to an Earthbound Immortal card after seeing its power, as he mostly sits around at the orphanage now mulling over the fact that he sucks. Carly meanwhile is searching for clues and manages to figure out who the 4 signers are. If she needs info, she needs to ask one of them. Yusei and Jack are out, obviously, and she doesn't know anything about Luna, so her last option is Akiza, and after the tournament, it's pretty much public knowledge she's in the Arcadia movement. So after trading goods with her contact, Carly gets various documents concerning the Arcadia movement, and sees a name she's familiar with. Misty Treadwell, the model she met at the movie premiere. She goes to see her, but of course it's not easy to meet a world-famous model, but luckily Misty seems to have some interest in Carly. I hope it's gay. Carly tells her about her investigation and that she came up with files on the Arcadia movement that mention Misty. She does confirm this is true, but she's not directly involved with the movement. It was actually her brother who joined, but disappeared one day. Which is a dub thing. He didn't really disappear, he actually died, and his body was found pretty much mutilated. I'm making that distinction because I feel like it's pretty important that the big difference is that he died rather than he's just lost, because all police reports state that the person responsible for it was the Black Rose, Akiza. Misty then advises Carly to just stay out of it and not get involved with those people because they're dangerous. Speaking of, Akiza is with Luna, who is worried over an injured Leo. Luna wants to leave with her brother, but Akiza, again stone-faced, says they belong here now and will be convinced as no one's coming for them. But Luna calls her out, saying no one's abandoned them, Sayer's insane and kidnapped them. And Akiza leaves them at her place, with Luna simply asking she'll do whatever they want, just stop hurting her brother. This prompts Akiza to tell Sayer to leave Leo alone, which he doesn't show it on his face, but Sayer does not like the fact Akiza is making suggestions. Can't have that. So to get more of her trust, Sayer decides to reveal more of his plans. That he wants to expand the Arcadia movement globally, with Akiza and her power, which was meant to be shown by winning the Fortune Cup, as a poster for what they can do. Akiza is not too keen on being used as advertisement, but is still convinced Sayer knows what's best, so she's alright with it, I guess. As the two leave, we see Carly has snuck in as a cleaning lady, making it into Sayer's office and finds some interesting stuff, like a file on Rex Goodwin. But before she can see any more, Sayer discovers her and duels her, and as we established, Carly sucks and gets hurt, being shoved out the window to Sayer's office, seemingly plummeting to her death. As she thinks about all the regrets she had, especially at the end not being helpful with Jack and not being together with him. For Sayer, of course, killing someone is just another day at the office, so he's about to leave. Until... Sayer, trying to evacuate his people, is shocked to see before him an alive Carly, dressed in some new clothes. And he may not be aware, but we know that Carly is a Dark Signer, and she's here to get revenge on Sayer. Meanwhile, Akiza is trying to find Sayer through the quakes, when Misty shows up, demanding answers for her brother. Akiza has no idea what she's talking about, and asks who she is, and Misty introduces herself as a Dark Signer.
You see, you're not the only one here who's keeping a big secret. Do not let my perfect face fool you, for I am a Dark Signer who has come to send you to the Netherworld.
You're a Dark Signer?
That's when a second mark appears around the Arcadia Movement building. At that building, due to the destruction, Tanner and Yanagi are able to escape their captivity. Akiza's not having the best time at her duel either, realizing that the damage is real, like what happens with her powers, but they may even be stronger. As Misty goes on about how Akiza has always used her powers in the name of protecting herself from others, but hurting people in the process, making her the villain to Misty, especially when she reveals to Akiza's shock that she killed her brother at one point. Then Misty explains how dark signers are made, as she says she spiraled into a depressive state after her brother died and ended up in the hospital at death's door after crashing her car. That's when the spirit of the Earthbound Immortal awoke in her, as she had regrets, namely bringing her brother's killer to justice. Yes, dark signers are born from people who have deep hatred, regret, and sorrow, all the cool emotions when they die, and are basically reborn as dark signers. And look, I know I'm jerking this series off too much, but come on, that's pretty cool. And this explains why Callan is one, wanting revenge on Yusei, and Carly, I guess because she was down bad due to Jack. Don't think about it too much, it's cool. That's when Tanner and Yanagi save Luna and Leo, with Leo waking up from his duel with Sayer. As the four make their escape, they run into Akiza and Misty's duel, and are shocked to see world-famous model Misty Treadwell is a dark signer. They are just in time too, as Misty summons her Earthbound Immortal, by using the souls of the people in New Domino. Okay, what's this thing's fun name?
Now, by releasing those 2 tokens, I can open the door to the Netherworld and summon Earthbound Immortal Kokoraya!
Oh, that's nowhere near as good as Kakapipi. It's just Gex.
Welcome to the only thing more evil than IRS headquarters.
Some of those souls, by the way, were Sector Security, who were in the middle of transferring a prisoner, Greiger. Yep, he's still in custody after his attempt at Goodwin's life, and somehow he's spared from the soul-sucking. That's when another dark signer, Devok, arrives, freeing Greiger, telling him if he still wants revenge, then come with him. Back at Carly and Sayer's duel, Carly's new Fortune Lady cards trump her Fortune Fairy cards, and like the other dark signer, she summons her not funny named Earthbound Immortal.
Now, after 5,000 years, the door to the Netherworld will open again, and the great immortals will feed on the spirits of Domino City. I summon Earthbound Immortal Asila Piscu!
Who crashes in and starts destroying the building as Sayer falls down with debris, which Akiza witnesses, seemingly dying. And seeing the only person that's ever actually accepted her die, it leaves Akiza not in the best headspace. Misty, not wanting to die herself and having awakened her Earthbound Immortal, leaves, promising to finish Akiza later. That's when Jack arrives, who goes into the building to find Akiza, but finds Carly's broken glasses instead, surprising him. Looking for both ladies, he only finds Akiza and takes her out of the building just in time. Carly is fine and now realizes what's happened to her, even though she doesn't fully understand, as Misty tries to comfort her, telling her how she died, but didn't, it's a whole thing, as Devok picks them up. The next day, the city is in panic from the lines of the signers now burned into the ground and possibly hundreds of people disappearing off the face of the earth, when suddenly a major senator and his wife head to the hospital to visit Akiza. Yep, these are Akiza's parents, which I didn't realize. I don't think the dub ever names them. I think they're just called Mr. and Mrs. Izinski. The doctor is like, yeah, this ancient shadow magic stuff, we don't have the medical equipment to deal with that, so better make a new daughter. Luna is at the hospital with the others, figures they need to help Akiza by getting to her heart with friendship and their bonds as signers. Just one problem. Nobody knows anything about Akiza, even her parents, as she's pushed people away her whole life and no one even bothered to get to know her because, you know, she's crazy. The one who probably understood her the most was Sayer, and he's, yeah, you know. Jack tells my future parents-in-law there is one man that can help and can understand Akiza more than any of them could. Yusei Fudo, who at this time, despite knowing the Arcadia movement was attacked and Akiza was involved, he's still unsure about his ability to beat the Dark Signers and is still working on his runner, hiding from his responsibilities, like a real man. That's when Dad appears, practically begging Yusei to come back and help Akiza. But Yusei is unconvinced because he knows enough to be wondering, even though Akiza has been under the Arcadia movement for so long and he's a powerful senator, why does he suddenly care now to do anything? Dad then gives us some backstory that due to his work, he was always busy, never having time to throw down and duel with Akiza, which saddened her. Till one day he did have time, but gets called away on business. This angers a child Akiza, and this is when her psychic powers awaken, as well as her dragon signer mark, as she accidentally flings Dad to a wall, hurting him. Obviously scared, Kid Akiza tries to find comfort with her parents, but Dad, shocked by all this turn of events, calls her a monster and tells her to stay away from him. Wow, Father of the Year, this one. He does say he regrets these words. He also regrets, well, they cut this from the dub, but I'm including it because I think it's important, that after her powers, she hurt her friends, and Dad slaps Akiza, with her saying he must have did it because she's a monster, not a normal kid. Which I know 4Kids has to do the whole thing of getting rid of any violence, but that's such a good moment. It's kind of fucked up that they got rid of that. I think that's really important. When she became a teenager, they sent Akiza away to a duel academy, which isolated her more, as everyone hated her because of her powers. Last time Akiza ever saw her parents was her running away from Duel Academy to her home after everyone hated her. But when she shows up, she sees her mom and dad celebrating something, laughing and smiling. And after that, she was done, as seeing her parents happy despite her being gone and being miserable made her snap. So she ran away from home, letting her powers loose, becoming the Black Rose. And then we know the rest from there. She met Sayer, who basically manipulated her obvious issues to get her in the Arcadia movement, and yeah. Dad begs Yusei to help Akiza, but he thinks he's incapable of helping her. And that's when Martha gives him the business, telling him to stop being a bitch. His friend is in trouble, and she's not the only one that needs help. Because he needs help too, and who better to help him than his friends. So Yusei arrives at the hospital, seeing the twins and Jack, and heads to Akiza, who instantly wakes up due to the marks. But seeing her parents and remembering what happened to Sayer makes her a little unstable, as she lets her powers loose. And Yusei realizes the only way to save her is to duel. The duel is fine, it's what you expect with Akiza being all, fuck friendship and junk, be alone, I hate all of you. And Yusei's like, nah girl, we're Nakama, and I don't turn my back on my Nakama, especially ones as thick as you. Wait, can I say that, or Dad is right there? But actually does something to prove to Akiza he's changed, as he jumps in the way of one of Akiza's cards, and despite her powers still hurting him, he promises to never turn her away again. And during this, Yusei realizes something pretty important. Akiza still does not know how to control her powers after all this time. That's why she's pushing people away, ultimately, to not hurt them. Yeah, it seems Sayer never really cared to actually teach her to control her powers, I'm shocked. That's when a cabinet goes flying at Dad, and overcome by all of this friendship and nepotism, she's able to stop it from hitting him, with it being the first time she ever had full control of her psychic powers. And the duel ends with Akiza willing to give her parents another chance, while also joining the Signers to fight the Dark Signers. Alright, do you see why she's best girl now? Unlike the last two main girls who were there and cool at first, but then just was kind of there. Akiza is not only an interesting backstory to get you invested in her, but seeing her get manipulated by a piece of shit like Sayer and seeing that she has some moments of being a good person makes you want to root for Yusei to save her and see her become more independent. Become a man in Yu-Gi-Oh, not a woman. Probably one of, if not the most fleshed out characters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, honestly. Which presents a problem, because, I don't know if those massive jubblies clues you in. She is a woman in Yu-Gi-Oh, and we just had the conclusion of her issues, more or less, so... Alright, you know, this arc's awesome. Let's finish it before we talk about the rest of 5Ds. Sometime later, Yusei and Akiza are with Mina, who shows them files from the Arcadia movement taken from the destroyed headquarters, about how Sayer was, not a good guy, the most obvious news ever. And he's been abducting kids with psychic abilities for years to raise them up into soldiers that he could use outside of dueling to sell to people like countries needing them for war or for his own personal reasons. And Akiza is listed as a top quality product. This is hard to take for her, even though she knew something was up. She was glad to have someone who needed her and a place to belong, but now she has Chosen One powers in Nakama. Then the four Signers and Leo go to Goodwin's mansion, where he exposits all the stuff we know already. But Leo does kind of have a purpose here. He asks the question everyone's been asking, where's the fifth Signer? With Goodwin again being vague, saying they were one of the first to awaken and will reveal themselves if they really need them. The rest, again, is mostly a recap of stuff we know about the Nazca lines and Dark Signers. I guess the main cast do find out about Dark Signers being born from dying. It's more a calm before the storm as all the Signers try to come to terms with what needs to be done. Yusei is still apprehensive on facing Callan, especially after finding out that there's no way to free a Dark Signer from being a Dark Signer. You beat them, and they just kind of go back to being dead. So Jack gives him some encouragement with a punch? Whoa, what? 4Kids actually showed physical violence? What happened? Did the censors fall asleep? Jack tells Yusei to nut up. Callan is their enemy now, so fight him. And Yusei refuses this, saying, no, he's still alive in there, and he's their friend, and he's gonna help him. And yeah, this was a roundabout way of Jack to get Yusei to finally admit what he wants to do. These two are gayer than them. Then Jack, taking out Carly's glasses, implies he realizes what must have happened to Carly, after finding out Dark Signers die and come back to life. Akiza flashes back to talking with her parents that despite reuniting, the Arcadia movement is the cause of a lot of bad things, and thinks helping the Signers and using her powers to help people is her first step on her new journey, despite realizing she will have to face Misty and the fact that she may have actually killed her brother. Then, despite my feelings, we do get a good moment between the twins, as Leo stops joking around and finally admits he's kinda useless in this after seeing all that's happened. And he tried to put on airs for Luna because he's always been there to help her, but this time he's devastated that when she needs him now more than ever, he's helpless because he's not a Signer. But Luna says magical dragon powers don't matter. You're Nichan, and that's all that matters. And that's the only reason I need you with me. I'll admit, that kinda got me here in the udder. Can't even see me, it's the udder. Right here. Speaking of not Signers, Crow. Back in Satellite, he's not happy about his people being used to summon Kakapipi and the business with Callan, so he goes patrolling for some Dark Signers to get even, and finds someone suspicious at the site of the fallen reactor. It's Lazar? Why is he here? Well, Crow thinks he looks suspicious, so he thinks he's a Dark Signer, as Lazar runs away thinking Crow is a Dark Signer thanks to all his criminal marks. And this leads to, of course, them dueling. Lazar uses a clown deck. He's a clown. I haven't just been calling him a clown, he's actually a clown. I'm saying this now because way later, him being a clown does come up. I don't know if it's important, but it does come up. The two go at it and actually develop some respect for each other as each admit they're having fun in this duel. Until...
Huh? What's that? An earthquake?
No, it's the Dark Signers, Crow!
Wait, so you're not one of them?
That's what I've been trying to tell you!
Yes, another Dark Signer shenanigan is afoot, and Lazar just runs away and escapes during the middle of a duel? You can do that? Why has no one ever done that before? While leaving, Lazar says Crow should clear out too, and he sees why, as a black fog is enveloping Satellite, and despite trying to outrun it, Crow gets swallowed up by it. Signers are informed of this fog and head to Satellite immediately to go help Yusei's friends. They are taken to a helipad where Trudge and Mina will take them. Goodwin arrives to see them off, and he remarks it's poetic the son of Professor Fudo, the inventor of the reactor, is going to right the wrongs of the father. This news surprises Akiza and the twins, who did not know of any of this. And Goodwin says to save the day, they need to beat the Dark Signers and make the original Energy reactor rotate in the right direction.
You must beat the Dark Signers and find the reactor. Then, if you're able, activate it in reverse. Hopefully, this will create a surge of positive energy and imprison the Shadow Army again.
However, Yusei doesn't get on the helicopter right away, as he says he has a condition before going to fight, surprising everyone.
If we're successful and save the world, you need to finish that bridge connecting the satellite and the city. People have a right to be free, and I won't go unless you agree.
And Goodwin agrees, as the Signers head off to face their fate. Boy, was that a lot. I need a break, so I don't know, stare at this picture of gay until I get back.